Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the last Down Under stream of the year. Unless we want to feel like we're going to do something a little bit special for international football, maybe a watch along and that. Me and Brody are discussing things in the background. But Brody, my brother, the grand final is done and dusted. How was the season? How's the grand final? And how you been? How are you feeling?
Yeah, look, it's sad the season's over by all means, but what better way to finish the season than the game that we got? You know, not only the game we got, but the final series that we got. You know, it was edge of your seat stuff, and why not finish that way as well with a close game in a grand final was great. It's been a good season. A lot of controversy, obviously, with refereeing and suspensions, but it's been great.
100%, bro. And we'll definitely touch on the season that was as well, guys. So, guys, just remember, this is a live stream. Make sure you jump into the chat. Come say hello. Chat away. We haven't got too many notes for the show. We're basically just going to run off of what you guys have in the chat. We're going to talk about some of the international football coming up and get you guys ready for international football. Me and Brody will take a little bit of a break for the off-season, kind of recharge the batteries. But as I kind of just said before, maybe we'll pop up with a, Australia versus England live stream or something like that to where we can chat with you guys and keep in touch with the community. But might as well jump straight into it, my bro. To end the season off, we got the Broncos taking it out 26-22 over the Melbourne Storm. First of all, brother, are you surprised with the way this grand final played out? You know, coming into this game, I think we both went the way of looking at Melbourne taking this one out, but the Broncos coming in after, I thought, winning their grand final against the Penrith Panthers, but doing it all over again against the Melbourne Storm. You surprised with the performance of both these sides here, and is this kind of how you expected it to go, basically?
Not really, no, but, you know, it can go one or two ways, the bit of the run that the Bronx went on there. It can either, you know, you hit your straps too early and you done your big dance before you got to the big dance, or it can harden you to believe in yourselves that you can come back. And then on Melbourne's side of things, it could be a nice, relaxed vibe, ready to go for the grand final, or it could be a bit lackluster. But what surprised me is how well Melbourne started and then to give up that lead, you know, to give up that halftime lead. We don't see that often from Melbourne. So for me, it raises a question of, what are Melbourne really doing? You know, they're always tipped to be at the top of the table. And, you know, they've been to now 3 grand finals since 2020 and only winning one of them. You know, they're a top 2 team. We always know that. But to only take out 1 grand final in 6 years when you've got that coaching staff, that talent pool, and to just get to the big game and fail. Like, it's a little concerning when you actually do look at it.
Yeah, do you kind of fit into the whole discussion that has been going on, that Craig Bellamy, he's hunting so hard to get that premiership that hasn't had one of the big 3 in it? Obviously, that 2020 series was the last time we saw Cameron Smith, so that was the last part of the big 3, you know, with the Melbourne Storm. Like, do you feel like Bellamy's pushing, obviously, to have that one there that's without those boys to say, listen, like, you know, this is me building this. And, like, of course it is him. Like, they're getting to grand finals. They're having success in that sort of realm. But getting to over the line, like, what do you reckon he's missing? And, like, do you kind of fit into the thought that maybe it is, like, you know, maybe the big 3 were such a big part of that system back then? Or, you know, what's your sort of thought process around that? Because I feel like there's been a lot of questions around Craig Bellamy, and maybe it was the big 3 doing most of the lifting than Craig Bellamy, but I feel like there's a little bit of vice versa when we actually see the success over for a season.
Yeah, I think you're right. You know, just the way that Cam Smith carried themselves, you know, Cam Smith, Billy Slater and Cooper Cronk, the way that those guys carried themselves. And it's not to say that Munster, Hughes and Pappenhausen and Grant don't. You know, it's technically the big 4 now, so even more reason why they should be winning. But it's not to say that they don't, but it's, I don't know. It's like they don't have another gear, Melbourne, at the moment, where if they fall behind, that they can play catch-up footy. You know, they're a team that if you go out of the way that they want you to play, like if you play a bit of X-factor footy, you can catch them by surprise and upset them. But if you try and go set for set with a team like Melbourne, they will just roll you. I don't know. I really don't know what their problem is, but I know that they just made a grand final and other teams have other problems. But when you're making that many finals and you can't get across the line, that's just as bad as not making the finals.
And I think I probably like, to add to your point there too, when we're discussing this, I think we hold the Melbourne Storm to a higher standard, right? Like we grew up through the era, Melbourne consistently being up there, making grand finals and winning grand finals, that big three, and how illustrious their career had been. But like, to your point as well, and I want to kind of like weed this out into like probably their season in general and how they've kind of played out. Like I think, coming into the season, they were overall favourites. I think everyone already put them up there. They're going to make the grand final. More than likely, they're going to win it. Their movements in the market, getting Stefano over, it was just felt like, oh, maybe this is the year they're just going to do it. Penrith kind of regressing just a tad. And they just never hit the full heights. You showed little ability. Like they had the massive game against us, the Parramatta Eels, where I was like, all right, this is the Melbourne's being Melbourne in daytime football. But throughout the whole year, it was still like they just weren't there yet. Like it just felt like it wasn't the Melbourne that we kind of expected. Did you get the same sort of feel?
You do. Like you see a team like the Roosters that once they feel it, they will put 40, 50 on you. Melbourne don't seem to do that. It's not often that Melbourne do that. They kind of play this footy where they'll do a lot of things right, but they'll do a lot of little things wrong. And that's the type of Melbourne that's different to the one that we seen the last time they won a grand final, where you got Cameron Smith, who is always doing the right choice. It's never too often that he goes away from the game plan, whether he's down by 12 or he's up by 30. It's the same type of footy. And I think Craig Bellamy's maybe struggling to get that out of a few players.
Yeah, do you think that because there has been a storyline too after, I'm pretty sure, the 2016 failure against the Sharkies, where the Sharkies got over them. Craig probably changed a little bit of his coaching style, and Melbourne went on those big runs where they had that big streak and then they fell apart in the grand final. Like they became more of an attacking based football side. They still had their defense, they're still a top defensive side, but gone are the days of Melbourne Storm being that wrestling, defensive. Like when you played Melbourne, it was going to be 1-12 win Melbourne more times than not. I feel like, probably adding to your point, they're playing a little bit more hot, like low percentage footy comparatively to what they probably had done in the past. Do you think that could be maybe what's affecting them at the moment to getting over the line, especially in tougher games, as we're kind of touching on?
Yeah, I think you're right. Like, back when prime Melbourne, right, they would always play off a 9. They don't probably play off Harry Grant as much as they should, in my opinion. I think they're playing off 2 running halves, whereas, Cooper Cronk wasn't really a running half either. Him and Cam Smith were just dictators. And it was, I don't know, it was maybe more of a team effort, whereas solely now it's probably just on the 4 players.
The big boys, yeah.
And, Eli Katoa was outstanding. There's a couple other great talents in there, but I feel like the difference between Cam Smith, Cronk, Slater is they made everybody around them so much better. I think that might be lagging a little bit with the big 3 we're seeing now, the big 4 we're seeing now, potentially. Or maybe it's just, none of them know how to take a backward step. Or if they take a backward step, they're completely out of the game, like we've seen Munster not do a lot on the weekend because it was Hughes running the show. Yeah,
so, and to add to that point, bro, just to delve into the game and maybe the final series in general, touching on Broncos more so coming into this game, and I kind of alluded to, there's probably 2 ways that the last 2 performances for the Broncos could either hamper them or help them in this performance against the Melbourne Storm, right? They went through the Canberra Raiders, the minor premiers of the year, that were incredible for the majority of the year. They had a real tough fought battle there, and they just came ahead, at home at the end, even though being behind, they had that massive comeback. And then they had the Penrith Panthers game where they had to dig deep. I think defensively, they were so stout in their line for a long period of time to end up switching momentum in their favour, and they ran home strong. Do you reckon those sort of performances help the Broncos coming into this grand final comparatively to probably Melbourne? The Sharkies gave it a good crack, but probably didn't have it wasn't a tough game as what Penrith had. Melbourne didn't get tested into that higher level finals type of finals football, but the Broncos got tested on high levels final football multiple times and passed it. Do you reckon that probably fed into this whole game and how it played out as well?
Maybe, definitely. I think that could, like I said before, it could either go 1 or 2 ways for you, that you burn yourself out, or it does give you that hard edge. I think the Broncos couldn't lose this game just to how much support they've got behind them as well. They've got a whole state behind them, and the state is on a high. from winning the AFL grand final as well. And,
Yeah.
you know, the women's doing it right before. It was kind of like all right, boys, we can't lose this game. Like, we got to do anything possible to win this game. And they somehow found a way. And, you know, it's kind of like we talk with Cronulla, like, is the state really there? Is the fan base really there to give you that extra edge when you need it? Like, yes, Melbourne are good at home, but when Melbourne travel, they're not as good. It's not as scary as coming up against Melbourne at Melbourne when you play Melbourne away. And it's, I don't know, maybe their fan base doesn't travel well. Maybe their numbers are limited to home games. And that might be why they struggle when it comes to the grand final, is they don't have just everything in their favour.
Yeah, I think that, like, there is definitely that little bit of, you know, because we saw the Broncos against the Panthers, and I feel like a lot of, like, the Broncos crowd really brought them home, brought them alive at the end of that game and bring them over the Penrith Panthers. I think that's a major, you know, flag for the Brisbane Broncos to fly up in the air, that they've got probably one of the best fan bases, if not the best fan base in the competition, as in the fact of, like, memberships and stuff like that, right? Where Melbourne, like, you know, being in an AFL town, building their fan base over there, and the travel of those guys probably is not to the level of the Broncos. And I felt like hearing a lot of the commentary around the game, hearing that the Broncos fans turned out in force over the weekend, it could possibly feed into your point there, brother, that kind of really helped the Broncos home, especially in those real dire moments. Because, you know, let's not forget, like, you know, the Melbourne Storm were 22-12 up at halftime. They looked good in that first half. They were actually stripping them apart fairly well with a lot of good attacking sets, but come out the second half, it felt like the bee in the bonnet was under the Broncos, and Madge probably ripped it up and said, hey, you got to do this. And that little fullback at the back kind of led the charge, really, at the end of the day.
Yeah, he really did. And that's probably one thing that, you know, Broncos did a lot better than Melbourne was, this is our guy. We're putting the trust in him. Whereas, I don't know, Melbourne just kind of waited and looked at everybody else to do something instead of just making it happen.
Yeah, with that, shout out to the guys in the chat going absolutely amazing. Shout out to Tans, as always. ARW, good to see you in here, bro. Now all the rumours swirling, Kamakamika to the Bunnies. Rugby 360 with Papenhuyzen, Nas, and Munster. And Pezzett leaving. Was this Melbourne's last genuine shot for a bit, Brody? I don't think so personally, but what do you think?
Yeah, I don't think so. We're always going to see Melbourne in the top four situation. You know, they may lose some players, but they're straight away already building, and they're going to attract big names just from, you know, Melbourne obviously being a great city that people want to live in, and also for the simple fact that you know what you're going to get from Craig Bellamy. I don't think we'll see Melbourne genuinely drop out of the top 8 until potentially a Craig Bellamy leaves, and then things could get hairy for a little while until they find their feet again.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. And, you know, when we're discussing this about the Melbourne Storm, guys, I do want to also, you know, allude to that we are holding them to a complete other standard, right? Like the Melbourne Storm, comparatively to every other team in a competition, is like, they're daisies, right? If you got to worry 100%. About just getting to the grand final, like that's a big thing. But, you know, we obviously, you know how good the Melbourne Storm are. Yeah. That's where we're kind of coming from with this, right?
Exactly. If we're talking about like their struggles of winning a grand final as opposed to teams struggling to make the 8, it's a whole different kettle of fish that we're talking here. We're only pinpointing on, is there a struggle to win a grand final? We know there's no struggle for them to win, make the top 8, to make the top 4. Where that's not even in discussion right now. It's more so just what do they need to do different to potentially push themselves over the line in a grand final.
And, you know, we might as well jump over and talk into some individual performances in this grand final, bro. We'll leave REECE for a little bit because I feel like it's a good touching point a little bit later on down the track. But first of all, I want to touch on some of the Melbourne performances in this game. I felt like Eli Katoa, we discussed this. We both had him on for Clive Churchill in this game. And, you know, we were looking at him, I wouldn't even say with rosy-coloured glasses. I felt like he was the best Melbourne player out there, next to probably Jerome Hughes, possibly. Your thoughts on his performance out there and how much he's grown, bro? Because I feel like we could, you know, wax lyrical about Eli Katoa being one of the best, if not, you know, you'd probably have him down as the best edge back row in the competition right now, right?
Yeah, definitely. Just his fitness at the moment. He never seems to be struggling. He never seems to be out of position. He's always taking that 3rd or 4th hit up for his backs, just to add a bit of oomph to meters. His kick chase is unreal, and his whole running and ball playing is out of this world. The dude's got it all. Like, that first half from him was absolutely incredible. And he, other than, you know, Jerome Hughes being there, it was one of those two for sure to get Clive Churchill if the Broncos didn't beat him. So, yeah, those two were just soloing for me, to be honest, in that Melbourne squad.
Yeah, unbelievable. Like, you know, Ellie has got that, like, as you said, he's got the ability to do pretty much anything on that football pitch. Like, and like, for me as a Warriors fan, seeing him come up as a junior and come over, like, obviously he was a rugby union junior, didn't have a lot of rugby league under his belt, you know, and he came to us, pretty much played his first games of rugby league under the New Zealand Warriors banner. And I always thought he was going to be this damaging ball running edge back rower. And when I said, like, we discussed this when he went to Melbourne, I was like, he's going to become one of the best back rowers in a competition. But I never saw this, like, the 10-meter cutout ball, like all those little, like, nuances to his game now, and even like his defensive movements. Like, he has come so far from the guy that I even thought that he would turn into to start off with.
Hard work beats talent any day, brother.
It's crazy. And, like, you know, you can see the more like Stefano and all that will end up getting under Craig Bellamy. You know, the pinnacle of looking at it now is like Eli Katoa. See what Eli Katoa's turned into. If Stefano continues down that same track, you know, we can see him in some sort of similar ability. So I want a massive shout out to Eli, because I felt like if the Melbourne Storm won that game, it probably would have, like, REECE's performance was absolutely incredible, this and that. And I think like Eli Katoa, Clive Churchill probably would have been on the money, right?
100%, unless, you know, Hughes and him just kept going nose to nose at it. But Eli Katoa, for me, in that first half, was probably the best player on the field.
All right, moving over to Jerome Hughes too, bro. I thought incredible little performance that he had out there. As you did touch on, I feel like he was probably the leader of the attack for the Melbourne Storm over the weekend. That beautiful try that, you know, straight, people forget, like, the timeline, the way this all happened. You know, REECE did his incredible solo effort try, which we'll touch on a little bit later on, how incredible that was. But Jerome Hughes goes, I'm big brothering you in this situation. Off the scrum, wasn't as good as REECE's try, but comes off the right foot, beats Reece Walsh, comes in under the post, and kind of looked at it. I looked at it, I was like, oh, here we go. Melbourne are just big brothering the Broncos right now. I'm going to do one better. Your thoughts on his performance in general, especially with that broken arm he's still playing with? Like, incredible performance from him.
Yeah, he played with a lot of confidence that first half, and it kind of looked like, all right, here's the Daly M winner of 2024. He's going to find a way to get Melbourne home here and get them across the line. And I don't really know what happened in that second half. They just didn't seem to put themselves into a position to win that game. They kind of seemed to shut up shop a little bit and let the game go past them. Nobody kind of wanted to take the game by the scruff of their neck. So, yeah, but that first half from him, individually attack-wise, was outstanding.
Shout out to you guys in the chat as well, guys. Just quickly jumping in here. Jose, we will probably touch on a little bit of UFC by the end of the stream as well, just for you, my bro. And just quickly jumping in, Jazzy, good to see you there as well. He's got a question here at Brody. How was the grand final win celebrations going on up there? And how do you stay sane and avoid cocky fans? Haha.
We'll put it this way, you got to let them have it, unfortunately, brother. Like, everybody wrote them off when Ezra and Adam both got injured, rounds 21 or whatever it was. And then to still find a way to push themselves into the into the top four, and then to roll Canberra, to roll Penrith, to roll Melbourne in a final series. Yeah, look, you got to just tip your hat off to them and let them have it, unfortunately. Yeah, when there's nothing really you can say, you got to let them have it.
Yeah, well, that's it, mate. And to be fair, I haven't seen the worst side of it just yet. Anyway, I feel like I thought it was going to be a little bit worse, to be honest. You know, having that grand final win after 20 odd years of waiting for the Broncos, they've come out in full force. But I thought it would be a little bit worse. Shout out to all the videos that are getting around too, Jordan Ricci and all that. My God, calling out Buzz Rothfield. You seen those videos?
Yeah, I did see those videos, and then I've seen Buzz end his career by saying, I wasn't even sure who that was. So that cracked me up, and Jordan Ricci, never try and bag a journalist
go with Buzz again.
Because only the women know who you are, brother, not the men.
Oh man, those videos are incredible. It was like all week. All week it's just been popping up, all new ones like REECE and Jordan Ricci on the bus, and he's like, "Shut up, get out of here!" And like, oh bro, just incredible, just incredible.
You gotta let her have them, and you can't really say much. You know, their crowd and their fans are loyal. I think it was another 15,000 odd that rocked up to Suncorp on a public holiday to watch them come back and celebrate. So yeah, you got to give it to them.
Yeah, you have to, man. Their fans do turn out in force, and obviously they repaid them too. Not just the men's, but the women's, and we'll touch on that maybe a little bit later on as well. Just quickly, ARW here, best player from each team, both former Warriors. They always get better after they leave. To be honest, like I you know, on this sentiment too, brother, I just want to obviously touch on this. Eli Katoa, yeah, for sure. Like he definitely became better without us, and REECE, he was going to leave us either way with his personal stuff that was going on back in Brisbane. So I wouldn't even feed into like it was one that got away. I feel like he was always going to go away anyway. But there's not too many that end up leaving us and go into like big world star notoriety. You know, I think the next one's probably Isaiah PAPALI'I, but other than that, you could probably. Don't think of too many Warriors that go missing and they turn into superstars.
Nah, not really off the top of my head. Nah, Shawnee J obviously had probably his best
when he went to the Sharks,
but he still came back and played good footy. It's not like he was only shit for you guys. So,
but
yeah, no, I don't think there's too much to that. And that's, you know, that's your old system. You know, now you guys have got a new system and you guys are attracting players and making guys play good footy. You know, Fish didn't play any worse footy this year than he had for the Panthers, so he kept his talent there. And Mitch Barnett's gone to you guys and gotten better. So there's a Aaron Clark's another one. So now guys are coming to the Warriors and playing their best footy. So let's look at it both ways, guys.
Let's look at it both ways. And we may as well jump over to the Broncos performances. Any other Melbourne Storm performances you want to touch on before we jump off, bro? Like obviously Munster probably didn't have his best game out there. Even Harry Grant probably didn't have his greatest game out there either. But yeah, anyone you want to touch on there?
In all honesty, no, brother. You couldn't even imagine some of them were even out there. So some pretty dud performances.
There was. And, you know, Melbourne, that second half, they definitely would love to rewrite the wrongs of that second half, and they probably would be winning a premiership too. And let's not forget too, they had multiple chances at the end of the game. Brian Papenhuyzen having two massive line breaks, or a line break and a moment too to shut that one out, and just Melbourne not being able to get it done at the end of the day. Yeah,
bring back old Papi. Sad.
Bring back. It is. But moving over to a guy that, you know, obviously we all know, the Brisbane Broncos, Reece Walsh. What a performance. Just absolutely incredible. We're already hearing all the news out of it. Is this going down as probably one of the best, if not the best, single performances in a grand final, bro? Like from your memory, or do you have any names you probably have it up there with?
Yeah, you'd have to go back and watch some games, brother. I'm sure, you know, not only the 2023 grand final for Cleary, I'm sure there was a couple other great performances he has had in grand finals. But, you know, Ryan Papenhuyzen 2020 stands out for me. You know, there's probably a lot more there as well that if you really went back and watched a few of those games, there would be some. But credit where credit is due. The only thing that REECE did wrong in this game is that defensive read on Nick Meaney and on Hughesy. Other than that, absolutely amazing. He got his defensive reads right and ended up winning the game, not only through his attack, but through his defense as well. So,
yeah, he pretty much controlled the game, don't he, from his attack, as you said, but those shutout defensive moments on Ryan Papenhuyzen and that to hold him in the game, and that Kama Kamitha try saver, as everyone's been saying, it's probably one of the most important plays in that whole game. You know, if the Melbourne Storm score in that straight after halftime, I think they blow this one out. They continue to run home with it, and this would all be forgotten of REECE's game. You know, I felt like he was building such a great performance. That try though, bro, like, all the views of that, you know, him coming off the right edge and pinning it through the middle, beating all these players. I've seen a guy that does athletic, you know, movement breakdowns where he's like, you know, old mate's turning his shin and his hips this way, and the way he's turning in and out. He's like, I haven't seen too much people move like that before. Like he's a unique player in rugby league right now, and I feel like his name's definitely up in lights, more so now. So I'm very curious to see what he makes of himself in the future as well.
Yeah, well, he didn't shy away from the spotlight. You know, he put it on himself a couple of weeks ago, being a bit of a character with the toilet bowl, and since then he's just been living it up, and he's making sure he's backing it up. You know, not only through his words but through his performances. And yeah, that try is probably one of the best solo tries I've seen for a long time. You know, I think he beat in total 6-7 guys. Yeah, just incredible.
Incredible, man. Incredible. And just quickly, bro, any other performances you want to touch? Oh, actually, what I want to touch on is this versus Cleary 2023. Which do you kind of hold more into like higher standard? You see the full performance, the 80 minutes of Reece Walsh, or do you see the 40 minutes of Nathan Cleary just doing something from behind and just taking it on? Like, there's a lot of like I can go either way, right? You got REECE, just complete performance there, but Nathan's like 40 minutes and that one was elite from when I first saw it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Walshy, you know, because even in that 40 minutes, Cleary got beaten twice by Ezra for 2 of those 3 tries.
Yeah.
So yeah, it wasn't just the best 40 minutes. So I'm gonna go with Walshy's, and my camera light just died, so don't mind me.
I just saw that last stream of the year, and it's it's all falling apart.
I'm in the middle of moving, all right?
And that's oh yeah, guys. I also want to let you guys know. Yeah, again, very very sorry we weren't able to get to the stream last week. We had a lot of stuff going on in the background, as you know, as Brody just said. He is doing a little bit of moving around too, guys. So I want a massive congratulations to Brody in the chat down below as well. He's obviously having a little bit of a sea change and finding a new bit of land to build another house on. So he's doing great things out there, guys. So I want a massive congratulations to Brody in the chat, and that's the reason why we weren't able to go live last week.
I appreciate it, brother. If you want to check out the house, it's up on realestate.com. Walsh us out.
Is there anything more you want to touch on with the grand final, bro? Any other performances you want to touch on? I thought Dean Mariner and Karapani were great.
Yeah, Dean Mariner, great. Shibasaki, great, especially defensively. Paddy Carrigan bumped out 80. You know, people won't talk about that. He didn't post up the biggest stats, but 80 minutes, shitload of tackles, a pretty good performance in my opinion. And then all the guys that it's covered positions from, you know, Benny Hunt going down, Karapani, HIA, Reynolds going down, and those guys that just bounced around to get the job done still. You know, if that happens and you're playing Melbourne, you would think that Melbourne's going to win and put it on you by 20, you know, and they still found a way. So the belief in those 4 walls and that Madge got out of them is nothing short of extraordinary.
Yeah, and like, you know, just quickly, we'll touch on the big fella, the coach, Michael Maguire, the year of the Broncos. Again, probably not the greatest year in general from we go start to finish, but ended off being an amazing season, just the way he finished out the final series and he got those boys to the top 4 finish. Where are you holding Madge right now in like a standard? Like, obviously, we won't be talking about greatest coaches of all time or anything like that, but when we look at this little era that he's having right now, obviously took the Rabbitohs to their first premiership in how many years, right? You know, with that team that he had with Sam Burgess, Greg Inglis, and he goes over and he does, you know, the New Zealand Kiwi job, take them to a record win over the Australian Kangaroos, and what he did for the New South Wales Blues in a record origin at Suncorp Stadium, right? And then now he's just first year with the Brisbane Broncos. He did something that, you know, no Broncos coach has done since Wayne Bennett in 2006. Like, this guy's resume is growing pretty quickly.
He's living on a high, put it that way, brother, and he takes the big moments when he's got them, and that's something on the other coin of Bellamy that consistently gets a team there. But on the other coin, you've got Madge that when he does get them to the big dance, he's up for it. So, you know, there's 2 different things that you can take from there. But yeah, look, I'd be putting him in still behind Cleary, Bennett, Bellamy, but absolutely incredible still nonetheless to not only just do it with the same team or the same type of footy. Like you said, he's done it international, he's done it state of origin, he's done it Super League, he's done it with the Rabbits, he's done it with the Broncos. So that's a pretty good quaddie.
Oh, just incredible, bro. And, you know, taking the Tigers to the 9th and all that. There's a lot of big things that Madge has done in his career. And this one is definitely right up there with the many of them. Obviously, I've seen Gordon Tallis and that come out and he's defending his boy with Kevy. And like, you got to respect him in some sort of way. Like, respect, he's defending his best mate. But, you know, I want to give the question to you. Do you think Kevy could have done the same thing this year as what Madge could have done? Or do you think there is differences between the two and that's what got him over the line?
I don't think he could have done it this year, but poor Kevy had it won, and it was there was nothing more he could have done in that 2023 grand final, Kevy, to win them that game. He obviously had a good halftime speech. They come out, put 3 tries on it, and shut the gate, and his job was done. He won them that grand final. It was the boys on the field that lost them that grand final. A coach's job is up till halftime, in my opinion, unless you get injuries and you got to reshuffle your interchanges. But for them to get out to that lead, that's all on the team. That wasn't on Kevy. You know, the following season, injuries and stuff like that, and unfortunately got let go. But it would be having a completely different conversation if he did win that 2023 grand final. It wouldn't have mattered how bad of a season he had last year. He would have kept his job. But here we are. So poor Kevy, now just do Australia well, mate.
100%, man, and we'll get over to that very, very quickly. Just quickly before we jump over that, I've got a couple of questions for you, mate. This is an early 2026 sort of prediction, or let's throw some things up in the air. Do the Broncos make the grand final again next year?
No.
Thoughts around that? So do you think that this was such a big jump, and do you think Madge maybe under another year, like probably doesn't get the same thing out of him? What are you thinking there?
Another year older, Hunt. Another year older, Reynolds. Still no development of halves coming through. You know, Cody Black, yes, but he's still not really escalated to that 20-25 squad and playing any game or on the bench or anything like that. So a couple of injuries there. They go out the window. You know, Haas is already obviously looking at Union switch over. They were pretty lucky to get through the season without any other major injuries, you know, to their back line, to Walshy, to their forward pack. You know, Haas, Carrigan didn't really have too many injuries throughout the season. So they've had a pretty good run with injuries throughout the whole year. You probably won't get that same next year. And it's so hard to get yourself up to want to go back to back. So for me, you're going to have hungry teams of the Panthers wanting to get back and prove themselves. You're going to have Melbourne now losing again, very, very pissed. It's what, 2 in a row that they've lost now. They're going to be wanting to come back and take one out. And then you got the teams that are getting better. You know, you got your boys, if they stay injury free, you got the Doggies, you got the Sharks that, you know, really believed and shown that they can run with it and will want to be back. Then you got the Roosters that might land somebody like Cherry Evans. So there's a lot that are going to be pushing for it. And I think they miss it next year is my early prediction. But what is your thoughts on that?
Do you reckon miss the 8, or do you reckon they'll get into a top 4 or anything like that?
They'll be 8. They'll be top 8.
Yeah. I'm kind of thinking again. I don't. It's like this is just coming out here. I'd probably say no. They don't make the grand final next year, but I reckon they'll make another push. I don't think they'll get. I think probably preliminary final they'll probably bounce out. I think the team that I'm watching at the moment, I'm thinking the Penrith Panthers to do what they did this year in 1 year. Now they changed over with all those players leaving them. I think they get another year, another preseason under him. Blaze Talangi gets another year of experience there. And how close they were to beat the Broncos at Suncorp Stadium. That was such a unique time where the Broncos, that fan base just got them over the top of them. I think that this could have easily been the Penrith Panthers all over again another year, right? So I think they're going to be there next year. And as you said, Melbourne, they're going to be, you know, obviously looking at this and going, we've got to fix them wrong. So, and Stefano, another year under him. So I'm going to say no, they probably don't make the grand final next year. But that's my other thought to as well to you is, you know, you've probably discussed a couple of teams there, but who's your smoky next year that you're looking out for that you think can come out from outside the pack that we don't really know of? Because obviously the Broncos were there this year. We probably didn't think the Broncos would make the grand final. Who are you looking at to maybe be the Broncos of next year if you do have a smoky in mind?
Probably the Roosters.
Probably the Roosters?
Yeah. You
know,
their season kind of went under noticed, I'd say, underappreciated. You know, they started the season obviously with all the injuries they started with. Yes, they bounced out of the finals in week 1, but, you know, a lot of people were tipping them not to make finals due to the injuries that they had. You know, Robert Toya, the one season that he had, he was supposed to be replacing Joey Manu. Like, that's a big drop of a player, and he's going to have a lot more experience, a lot more ability there. Then you've still got the other guys around them that are improving every day. You know, their bench this year was unreal in games. Give those guys more experience. The young ones of Blake Steep coming through, and, you know, Sammy Walker stays injury free. You add Cherry Evans into that mix if he goes there. Reece Robson as well, another caliber hooker. Dangerous. And then Rabbits as well, Bunnies if they're injury free.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of bunnies in the chat, guys. Yeah, make sure you chuck in the chat your thoughts there too. Tarn's also putting up the throw up the Dolphins, you know, with all their injury woes that they've had. So next year's top 8 is going to be real tight, man. Like, we've already kind of discussed this in the background. No, I won't put this up to you just yet. We'll do that next year, guys, when we come back. Give a little bit of earlier predictions and stuff. But top 8, wooden spoon of next year, it's really tough discussion because a lot of these teams, and I feel like this is probably the best competition has been in a long time, which would probably put this down as, I'd say this year's right up there for being one of the best years of rugby league that there has been probably close to nearly all time.
Oh, 100%, brother. My early prediction is Dragons, wooden spooners.
Dragons, Wooden Spooners. I'm still looking at the Knights. I don't know what it is, man. I really don't. I know KP and all that if they come back healthy and everything goes well, but you know, with all the rumors of KP probably sniffing around and now Rugby 360's opened up, he could be going to Rugby 360. Who knows? That, you know, that name hasn't been thrown up yet.
I've seen Tans asking if there's any truth behind that, and it's hard to tell when there's rumors around the doggies. We're such a high media pinpoint at the moment for are the doggies doing this, you know, are they moving on Burton, all this, that, the other. It's very hard when you got Gus Gould at your club because he is so unpredictable. He'll say one thing and do the complete opposite. So I'm not too sure if we're chasing Ponga, but if there's more money in Union, I dare say he'll go there.
Shout out to James in the chat as well with the Parramatta Eels shout. It would be good to see. And ARW, yeah, Jazz, Barnett, and touching on the Warriors and hopefully the Warriors getting a big win. You know, maybe get into around those discussions as well. All right, bro. Let's move straight over to the international game. Who do you want to touch on first? Do you want to touch on Pacific Championships that's happening around our backyard, or do you want to go overseas? Do you want to go over to England?
Nah, let's do Pacific Championship first.
All right, bro. We may as well touch on the top squad, the tier 1 nation of the New Zealand Kiwis. So the squad that's come out, guys, if you haven't got checked out my TikTok and all that, I've done all the little squad reactions as well, but I want to get Brodie's thoughts on these squads as well, guys. Make sure you jump in the chat and give us your thoughts as well. Nelson Alsofa Solomona, Dylan Brown, Aaron Clark, Phoenix Crossland, James Fisher-Harris, Kieran Foran, Jermaine Asako, Keanu Kearney, Sebastian Chris, which is a good one there, Moses Leota, Jeremy Marshall-King, Casey McLean, Ronaldo Mulatalo, Chance Nickel-Clockstag, Britt Nikota, Isaiah Papali'i, Scotty Sorensen, Joseph Tarpanay, Matt Tomoko, Nafahu White, which is, you know, he had an amazing year this year as well, and Xavier Willison, brother. Your thoughts on this Kiwi squad? What was your first reaction? Because I know personally what your first reaction was, and it's a great talking point. But what was your reaction seeing this Kiwi squad? Yeah,
I think it's a lot of people's first reaction was the halves depth. Like you got what, Foran and Katoa. Oh, yeah. No, not even. Is it Katoa?
No, it's Foran and Dylan Brown.
Dylan Brown, yeah. So you got Dylan Brown, who hasn't played a lot of footy at half this year at all, and you got Kieran Foran, who has his injury rose. He's retired now, and is he retired now? I swear I've seen him retire.
Kieran Foran, yeah, he's retired now.
Yeah, he's retired now, and he was playing on the bench for the Titans. One of those boys go down, which there's a good chance of them going down. What do you got? Chancey playing 5'8". You know, Keanu Kenny,
Phoenix Crossland,
halves, Crossland. Yeah, it just leaves you a little bit light on, but I don't really know who else they got to choose from at this stage. Yeah, and I'm sure like the starting halves, right? Like I'm sure Kieran Foran's probably going to have a decent series. I don't know what 100%. It is with Kiwis now for the last couple of years. They've been the retirement, you sort of like run for like, you know, Sean Johnson last year, Pacific Championships, now Kieran Foran. But I look at the squad, I still think it's incredible. But I agree with you. Like that halves depth is really worrying for me. And when I look at the other teams of the Pacific Championships, like Samoa and Tonga, I'm like, oh, this is going to be a real tight one. Like I think like the big difference makers is that forward pack's absolutely like mental comparatively. But then you see Samoa got Payne Haas and Terrell Mason. We'll get to them shortly. That halves depth, Kieran Foran, he's only one injury away for, as you said, Phoenix Crossland or CNK going into that 6 or 7 role. Who else you got that's not in this team that, you know, might be injured and not available for selection? Well, Tamati Martin is one that keeps getting thrown up everywhere. I haven't seen any news if Tamati has been injured or not. Then again, guys, I'll be completely honest. I haven't delved deeply to see what's going on with Tamati. I saw him on Instagram before doing some advertisement for, I think, Isuzu, but he's a big one. Cody Nicolima. Jerome Hughes. But that kind of throws up another discussion, bro. It's like I think like Kiwi halves are a dime and a dozen at the moment now. They are, yeah. That's what I was just thinking. Is like who's really established themselves, and it's few and far between at the moment. Because Blaze is what, Tonga? Yeah, Samoa. Yeah. So yeah, few and far between on Kiwi halves at this stage. Like what happens? So like obviously when we're looking at ages, Dylan Brown's going to be along for another 5 to 8 years. I think still in the game. I think he's 26 now, 25, 26. Kieran Foran obviously is retiring. You know, Jerome Hughes is 31, 32 now. Something like that. Yeah.
Yep. So he's only got probably a couple more years left in rugby league. Like, who's the up and coming Kiwi half that's going to take over?
Not too sure, brother, unless KP moves over and represents NZ.
It's wild, man. Like, it's crazy the Kiwis have gotten themselves in this predicament again. I'm sure, like, you know, one day it may be someone that pops out of nowhere and really jumps up. But just off the top of my head, I can't think of too many. Like, I really can't.
No. Whereas, like, in Australia, dime a dozen.
Yeah, obviously the chat's going crazy. You got, obviously Tomande Martin and Cody Nikarima. ARW, Tuapiki can play halves. Yeah, he's played halves at a pinch. Like, he played a little bit of Burley. He played a little bit for the Kiwi A's, but I don't like him as a halfback in general, just in line defense. Jet Cleary's getting thrown up, but he's Aussie. He's born in New Zealand, theoretically, but I think that he'll still pledge for Australia, personally.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough discussion.
Yeah, guys. Yeah, let us know if there's any, if you've got any knowledge. There's other guys like Lorenzo that is playing for the Parramatta Eels. You got Harmy Loza, that's for Newcastle Knights, but these guys are still like probably 3 or 4 years off. So I'm very, very curious to see the future of that. But when you look at the rest of the squad, bro, like you're seeing a lot of strength in other areas as well. What's your other thoughts around the squad?
Oh, 100%. You know, backline's always solid as for the All Blacks, and so's their forward pack. You know, Nafahu White's going to lead that engine room. James Fisher-Harris, you know, those guys, scary times.
When you're thinking about it, right, like I'm probably going to go off the top of my head here, and I'm going to try to formulate a forward pack. So I'm going to go Fisher-Harris has got to be there up front. You probably pair him up with Moses Leota to start the game because they are just a 1-2 punch, genuine. That 13 jersey I'll probably give to Joseph Tarpaneg and then bring Aaron Clark off the bench, right?
Yep.
Then you still got places to fill with Isaiah Papali'i, with Nafahu White, with Xavier Willison, with Nelson, with Brinton Nikota, Scotty Sorensen. Like, it's pretty stacked for the middle there.
Yeah, well, Scotty Sorensen and Nikora, both your back rows, and then you just name your bench in Aaron Clark, Willison,
Isaiah Papali'i,
and Papali'i.
Oh, that's a tough bench, bro. That's a tough bench.
It is.
And then looking at a back line, we're probably going to go Keanu Kinney at fullback more than likely.
Yeah, Chauncey in the centres.
Chance in the centres. Or the centres we got here is Sebastian Chris, Matty Tomoko, Case McLean.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Case
It's going to be
McLean.
tough for him.
Case McLean and Timoko. Yeah.
That's probably who I'm going for. And the wingers of probably Ronaldo Mulatalo and Jermaine Asako more than likely, right?
Yeah, definitely to start.
Yeah. And then Phoenix Crossland at 9. I know Jeremy Marshall King at 9.
Jeremy Marshall King at 9, yep.
Yeah. And that's probably where they're looking at halves there, is Phoenix Crossland.
Yeah. Backup.
Yeah.
Or, you know, Chance is probably carried as a backup as well.
Yeah, shout out to T Mackey, getting his team there. And also, they're chucking up Luke Metcalf to come over. And again, Jazzy here. Again, Wade Egan can rep New Zealand with his residency eligibility. I'm sure if Luke Metcalf stays for a little bit longer, he probably has a similar thing.
Yeah, I think so. That's interesting. T Mackey's got Tarpley on the bench, but I definitely think he'll be starting somewhere because he'll be co-captain with James Fisher-Harris.
Yeah, I think that's just a major respect to Aaron Clark and his year that he's had. But I think when we look at players like Joseph Tarpanay, he's got to be in that starting side for me.
Yeah, and maybe Leota goes to a bench then, but you definitely start with Fish and Tarps.
Yeah, you have to have those two there. But yeah, anything more on that Kiwi squad, bro? Honestly, like I look at it, I'm still like, I think it's incredible, but I'm right there with you. I'm like, I feel like it does bring it back to the pack just a tad, especially with those halves.
Yeah, definitely. But, you know, if they can really just play off the back of Jeremy Marshall King and if Dylan Brown just stays on one, tough, bro. That's a tough squad. Dylan Brown, everybody forgets the ability. I do really rate this dude, and I hope he finds his best footy at the Knights because he is a talent, man. When he's on, he's such a strong ball runner. He reminds me a lot of Jerome Hughes, and we just seen this season that Jerome Hughes had last year and the backup this year. So he's got the ability. He's just got to probably get away from Parramatta is the best thing for him. So let's see if he can be the man at the Knights.
Fingers crossed. But all right, let's move over to the Daya Samoa squad. So going 1 to 21, guys, 21 name squad here. Ata Mariota, Benaya Loelu, Blaise Dalangi, Brian To'o, Chanel Harris-Tavita, Dean Mariner after his grand final performance, Francis Molo, Isaac Tongo, Jerome Luai, Jaden Sua, Jazz Davanga, Jeremiah Nenai, Josh PAPALI'I, Junior Paulo, King Tongia, Murray Talangi, Payne Haas, Chuavasa Simi Sasangi, Dalen May, and Daryl May. Brother, incredible team, just stacked here. And when I look at the rest of the Pacific Championship squads, you know, I'm looking at Tonga having a very similar sort of discussion with this Kiwi squad. If I have any injuries to Isaiah Katoa there, like I feel like their halves depth drops completely off the face of the earth. You look at the Samoan squad, bro. They've got more than likely for me. I've got Jerome Luai and Blaze Talangi in a 6 and 7, right?
Yep.
And then you got Chanel Harris-Tavita that can fill in a spot there, and you got King Tongia that can fill in a spot there if there's any injuries in the halves. Like I feel like their halves, that's probably the best out of the Pacific Championship right now.
Yeah, let's try and make a team here. Let's go. Who are you going at fullback? You going Roger?
I'm going Roger Tuivasa-Sheck at fullback. Yeah.
Yep, you and me both. Wingers, you going Brian Toto and
for me
to a Lungy, or are you going to go with Mariner on the back of what he just season he just had?
I'm personally, and I put it up on my TikTok, bro, and I'm seeing a lot of Dean Mariners, and I feel like not to say recency bias because he was incredible for the season as well, but people forget about Murray Talangi. Like I think he's a representative winger.
Yeah,
you know,
Queensland, the way he defends. Yeah, look, the finish. I think Mariner won't be as potent. He's a good player, don't get me wrong, but he won't be as potent outside of the Broncos right now. He's just got that really good combination. I'm still going with Murray Tuolangi there. Centers, Isaac Tongo, and are you going to go Taylor May?
I've got Taylor May in there at the moment, yeah.
Okay, yep.
I think
you
that's
can make
incredible.
A case for Mariner in the centers, maybe.
You can, yeah.
Halves, you sum that up. Blaze Tuolangi, Luai.
Yep.
Front row starting, Terrell May, Payne Haas.
The way I've done it, bro, so my front rows, I've got Payne Haas and Junior Paulo. And I'm thinking that I can push Terrell May to a 13 because I don't see an out-and-out 13 other than Jazz Tavanga in the side. And so that would mean my forward pack in the middle would be Payne Haas, Junior Paulo, and Terrell May.
Yeah, and then your back rowers are obviously Nanai and
Jaden Sewer.
Yeah, Jaden Sewer.
Yeah, that's probably the best way I have it. And I have Josh PAPALI'I off the bench.
Josh PAPALI'I off the bench.
Yep. You could easily go. I just think Junior Paulo, for what he's done for Samoa, he was very similar to that Tongan, Andrew Fafita, and that he jumped to play for Samoa. I feel like he needs to be the leader of this squad as well. Still. Yep.
So your bench is going to be Jazzy, PAPALI'I, Simi Sasangi.
Simi Sasangi's there.
Chanel.
Yep. Chanel's my 14. I've got Francis Molo there. Did you say Molo before?
No, I said Simi Sasangi. I think he's had a massive year. So him, PAPALI'I. Who else did I just say?
So I've got Chanel Harris-Tavita at 14, Josh PAPALI'I at 15, Francis Molo at 16, and Simi Sasangi at 17.
I've got Jazzy over Molo.
Yeah, I've got Jazzy in my 9 at the moment, but Benaya's got the ability to play 9. He's a Roosters rookie number 9, so he could probably push Jazzy to an outside. And I don't like Jazz at a 9. I only just chucked him in there because I feel like he's going to be defensive pass off the deck. That's all. Yeah. You just want clean ball out of there, and I just don't know if Jazzy's got that anymore because you really want to give Luai ball front foot, and I just don't know if he could do that. So maybe you can make a case for Chanel to play 9. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like Chanel can go 14 and 9. Benaya Loelu as well. Shout out to him. People are throwing him up to start up at number 9. I'll be curious to see it. No Gordy Chan Tong and all that. I'm not sure what's going on there. No Denny Levi as well. But still, this
I think the squad that they've picked is better. King Tongia definitely deserves his spot there. Ada Mariota, Simi Sasangi, these type of guys that we haven't seen come in before. I think they deserve that spot over the likes of those guys. 100%, bro. And that's a deadly squad. Just running through that. You got a back line of RTS, Brian To'o, Taylor May, Isaac Tungo, or Murray Talangi, or even Dean Mariner, whoever you want to pick your poison there. That's a deadly back line. That is. It's just how fit are the boys going to be? Let's hope they're staying fit.
And I think the big key difference here too, guys, is obviously the big name, the elephant in the room is Payne Haas, right? He's come over to Samoa and now he's elevated them. You look at, Tonga had Adam Fanua-Blake, and you look at the Kiwis, they've had Joseph Tarpanay or a Fish. This is like now they've got, obviously they had Terrell May and all that in prior and junior, but Payne is the best prop in the game, and that elevates them by far.
100%. 100%. Yeah. The standard he's going to bring is through the roof.
This is my roughie. This is my smoky. I think Samoa might be able to pit this one in the Pacific Championships this year.
I think so too.
Yeah, I really 100%.
Do.
All right, let's go to the team that's probably going to give him a great challenge as well, and I cannot wait to see it live. We got Tonga coming out with their Pacific Championship squad, bro. Paul Alamonte, Fine Fuiaki, Adam Fanua-Blake, Fotuwaika, Halasima, Havili, Lehigh Hopoate, Eli Katoa, Isaiah Katoa, Sione Katoa, and that is the Sharkies winger. Don't go check out on my Instagram and all that. I, for some reason, thought ex-Doggies hooker Sione Katoa for some reason. I'm pretty sure he's not really playing too much footy at the moment anyway, but Felice Kafusi, Dolu Gola, Isaiah Ongi, Sonny Luke, Will Benassini, Jason Tamalolo, the captain, Robert Toya, Daniel Tupou, Stefano Utikamanu, Dimitri Vaimonga, and we got Siwa Wong, which, that side again, very deadly. But your first question, what do you got? Who is the 6 for you?
The 6 for me, it's probably got to be Iongi, brother.
Yeah, I put this up on my on my TikTok and that, and that was my first question was who's everyone's thinking that's going to be the 6 in the squad. Isaiah Ongi has played a little bit 6 growing up as well. He got moved to fullback in the Penrith system as well, so he's got the ability to do so. Are you confident with the halves pairing of Isaiah Ongi and Isaiah Katoa?
Not as much as I am with the other guys that are in the team, but I like the other guys that are in the championship. Obviously, we just went through Samoa and they're just stacked from top to bottom, and there's no question mark. New Zealand have at least got Kieran Foran and Dylan Brown with Crossland as a backup. These guys haven't got an out-and-out guy that plays 5'8" at NRL level. So Isaiah Katoa will do a lot of the steering anyway, but also add on top of that, you don't have an out-and-out 9.
Yeah. I'm looking at it. They got Havili.
Havili and Sonny Luke, both had a bit of NRL experience, but I love Sione Luke, but still also don't love at the same time. Definitely don't like Havili at 9. And then you also got, if you move Iongi to 5'8", you then scramble into make shift to fullback in either Kola or Hopoate. I know Hopoate's had his moments and he was really good last year at fullback, so that's who I'm going to roll at fullback. Yeah,
that's who I'm going to roll at fullback at the moment. I think we can both agree on that one.
Alamonte.
I'm thinking Alamonte and
Daniel
at
Tupou.
the moment it's Daniel Tupou or Sione Katoa. It's tough between those two. I've got to go on Daniel Tupou.
Oh yeah, they'll bounce around. I guess they'll probably play some games and not the others. Because Robert Toya and Kola.
Dolu Kola. I think that's the big ones there. You got Will Benassini there as well. But I love Gola, bro. I think he's an incredible talent.
That's why you could make an argument for him at fullback as well. And then, the rest of the squad speaks for itself because they're nothing but forwards and back rollers. So
pretty
put them
much.
wherever you want.
Who's your starting front row pairing in this one for you? You got Adam Fanua-Blake, you got Mo Fotuwaika, you got Felice Kafusi, you got Jason Tamalolo, you got Stefano Utikamanu.
It's Stefano and Ads and Tamalolo at 13.
That's gnarly. And then off the bench, we got looking at maybe Dimitri Vaimonga, Siwa Wong.
Take your pick from there, brother. Take your pick. Kafusi,
edge back rowers.
Edge back rowers. Fine Fuiaki would be one of my back rowers.
Yeah.
And
Eli
then
Katoa. Eli Katoa all day.
Oh yeah. Sorry, Eli Katoa. Yep.
And then Lecker off the bench, or do you reckon Lecker over Fine Fuiaki?
Yeah, probably Lecker could even push in there, brother, in all honesty.
Missing Ola Kawatu, I feel like he is definitely a big miss as well. Like, I know they're still stacked, but like,
bro, 100% you're missing that dude.
Yeah, he would be incredible to see in this squad, I reckon.
Yeah, it's a dangerous squad, but I definitely think Samoa are the more complete package. Let's go with that.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, bro. Still, like, as you said, incredible squad top to bottom, but there's questions. Like, as you said, number 9, Sonny Luke. I love Sonny Luke personally. I think he's a great number 9, but Isaiah Qatar probably needs a 9 that's just going to give him pill and not dance around the ruck too much and be ruck deceptive. And I don't like Havili's pill off the deck. I never have.
Neither.
And then number 6 is, can Isaiah Ongi get back to, you know, well, can he rise to the level of being a international 6, not just a reserve grade 6 of what he had played in the past?
Yep, I agree. And defending against the Samoan boys coming at him, the Kiwi boys coming at him. So,
tell you what, as I said before, I can't wait for that Samoan versus Tongan game, bro. Adam Fanor Blake versus Payne Haas in the middle. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's gonna be an exciting game, that's for sure, brother.
Yeah, 100%, bro. Anything more you want to touch on there? Again, we kind of just touched on the notable misses with Ola Kawatu and that. Latu Whainu is definitely a big miss for me. He could have been playing 6 personally for me. I think that would have changed the squad outlook for me a little bit too. But I think they're the big notable misses.
Yeah, none of the brothers seem to be in.
Yeah, so apparently Samuela and all that has pledged for Fiji, which I had no clue they were part Fijian, but they are.
The more you know.
It's very similar to, I've personally thought that Dimitri Vaimonga was Samoan. I didn't know he was Samoan Tongan, but he obviously is Samoan Tongan. I didn't know. I thought he was something else, but he is Tongan as well. So shout out to him.
That's good to know.
There you go. The more you know. All right, let's move over to the big one over the Ashes over in England. Our Australian Kangaroos going over there. This is obviously a big game for us. It's first time since 2003 from memory. We've been over in England having an Ashes tour. So it's going back to some of the old days there. But the debutants in this one, first of all, bro, I just want to touch on Blake Brayley, Keon Galore-Matangi, Mark Nawaqanitawase. Shout out to your boy Jacob Preston, Shibasaki, Ethan Strange, and REECE Walsh. All worthy debutants for you?
Oh, 100%, brother. 100%.
All right, moving over to the rest of the squad here, bro. Paddy Carrigan, Nathan Cleary, Lindsay Collins, Ruben Cotter, Angus Crichton, Tom Dearden, Dylan Edwards, Tino Fa'asua Malaawi, Harry Grant, Mitchell Moses, Cam Munster, Lindsay Smith, or I said Lindsay Collins twice, Katoni Stagg, shout out to Katoni pledging for Australia other than Tonga. Interesting play there. Isaiah Yo, and we got Hudson Young there back in the Australian squad, top to bottom, I reckon.
100%, brother. So you said, who was it that pulled out? Lomax and Coates.
Lomax and Coates pulled out, yeah. So we have Fox and Bradman Best come in late as well. Brady Best will be debuting for Australia as well.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to hear my squad to start?
What we got, man? What we got?
And do you want to see if you agree or disagree on some of these calls?
I agree. Let's go.
REECE Walsh at fullback.
Yeah, agree.
Dylan Edwards on a wing.
We'll disagree slightly.
Okay.
Just that last time Pacific Championships, him playing on the wing has really rubbed me the wrong way. I know you can do it. It's just like, I don't know what it is about seeing Dylan Edwards on the wing, but I just see more errors out of him and he just doesn't get into the game the way I expect him to. Like, I think that we could probably run what we got here. Do you reckon Mark Nawaqanitawase to start on the wing? Do you already have him there?
Well, you want to talk about errors and you go and throw out Mark
Nawaqanitawase. I know, but you got a genuine winger there. I know, obviously, it's not a big difference. You're a winger, right? You're talking wing, but I think Nawaqanitawase and Josh Adokar, I think.
I'm going to go with Dylan Edwards and Josh Adokar.
I can see that. Yeah, it's not that bad of, like, I'm not saying it's a bad shout. It's just I got a bad taste in my mouth from the last time we played wing against the Kiwis.
Yeah. I think it's going to happen, in all honesty. I don't think Mark will play the first game.
Yeah, I'll probably lean on your side there. Yeah.
And I'm going Stags and Shibasaki in my centers. Yeah,
I'm looking at the squad. You don't think Brady Best will get the first shout there?
Not the first shout, no, just due to the season he's kind of had. He's had a bit of an off season now, whereas you got 2 guys that are fit, ready to go, just won a grand final.
Yeah, and when we think about it, you got Katoni Staggs, he's a predominant right side centre, so he'll play on the right.
Left side.
And Shimisaki's left side. So Bradman Best is a predominant left side centre, so it'd be him versus Shibasaki, right?
Yep.
I personally, before the squad picked, I would have had Brady Best over Shib, but after that grand final and probably the year that he's had, I can understand Shib.
I definitely would go Brady Best talent-wise, but just fitness-wise Active wise, Brady Best has obviously had the injuries as well. I don't even know if he played the last game of the season for the Knights. I can't remember. So that's the only reason I'm leaning towards Shibasaki to play that game one.
Yep, agreed. Sweet.
Munster, Cleary, set, forget.
Set, forget.
I'm going to start with Keon and Tino up front.
Okay. Well, yeah, keep going because I'll fill out the blanks here because there could be many different ways you go here.
Paddy Carrigan at lock.
Okay.
And then my bench is going to be Lindsay Collins.
Yep.
Ruben Cotter.
Yep.
Lindsay Smith.
So Isaiah Yeo is the big miss here.
Oh, fuck. I've got like things in front of it. Sorry. Yeah.
You're right.
Isaiah Yeo's lock.
Okay. And then Paddy, where would you push Paddy then?
Paddy back up front. And I think Keon misses game one.
That's where I was kind of running with. Yeah, that's where I was probably looking at.
Literally, like, if you could see this shit.
You're taking it off.
Oh, wait. See, I can't see Isaiah Yeo down the bottom. There's a bunch of like things.
Shout out to my face almost covering it there.
Yeah, pretty much. And then back rowers, I am going to start. Oof.
Angus Crichton.
Take your pick. Yeah, Angus Crichton.
And Hudson Young?
Yeah, probably Huddy Young. Both left sides, though. So we're going to go
That's your boy.
We're going to go with Angus Crichton and Jacob Preston.
I was going to say, does your boy get it over the top? Do we maybe even go Hudson Young and Jacob Preston?
Nah, Angus Crichton, brother, for sure. You could even probably make a case that it might be Angus Crichton and Ruben Cotter that start at back row.
Yeah, I have seen that argument as well. We've seen Ruben Cotter do it in an edge back row position in representative footy as well too. So yeah, I'd probably say that's definitely a squad. Number 9's definitely Harry Grant.
Yeah, definitely.
Shut case. But do we see Blake Brayley maybe once or twice in the series, or do you reckon he's an emu for the whole thing?
We see him have a game for sure, whether it's at the 14 or whether it's at 9. I see Blake Brayley and Tom Dearden switching around in that 14 jersey. I don't see. You could probably make a case that Tommy Dearden and Mitch Moses might swap out with Cleary and Munster in a game. Probably more a dead rubber game. But I think the proper dominant squad will be Tommy Dearden or Blake Brayley in that 14 jersey.
And so with the squad that you named, you saying the emus, so the players that go over the tour just for the experience and maybe they'll get on for training and that we probably won't see Ethan Strange, but it'll be better for the experience.
I don't know, brother. You in a dead rubber game, brother, more than likely he might get a run. But yeah, I definitely think Ethan Strange will be on the lesser side chance of getting a game.
Yep. I'd love to see Mitchell Moses there, but maybe Keon Kalamatangi. You can even put Keon on a bench too.
Keon will get a bench run at least.
Yeah.
You got a lot of guys that have played a lot of footy here in, your Carrigans, your Isaiah Yeo, your Clearys, Munster. These guys will probably not play every game. You wouldn't imagine they'll play every game.
I had a comment on my TikTok, and shout out to, I think it was on my TikTok or maybe it was on my YouTube short. I'll make complaining about the squad that we picked, and I honestly believe that's probably the best team that we could have picked with the players that are available.
Who do you think is missing? Tell me right now.
I really don't know.
That is out and out available for selection.
Well, that's exactly the question I gave back to him. I was like, who's really missing? I can't. Like Mitchell Barnett, he's injured. Obviously, Liam Martin's injured. Xavier Coates and I've been pulled out now with Zach Lomax as well. So, bro, I don't know, who can we name here?
Yeah, Payne's obviously left.
Yeah.
Jacob Carraz, you could make an argument for, but he's got injury worries. He's probably said, leave me out.
Tommy Turbo's injured.
Teddy pulled out. Turbo's injured. Latrell's pulled out.
There's not much you can pick from.
I don't think he maybe thought that he's heard of these guys pulling out and maybe he's just looked at it and gone, where are these guys? But that's what I'm thinking.
incredible squad, and for the upcoming World Cup, it's still looking very, very strong for the future there as well. And shout out to Tino, he's definitely the big plus here for the Kangaroos. Again, even without Tino, if Tino did pledge for Samoa and that was the way it goes, you know, shout out to him, incredible move there too. But him having an Australian jersey, having him in the middle of that forward pack helps a little bit as well. You know, him with Paddy Carrigan and Isaiah Yeo, Keon Kolomatangi, like I'm sure we would have been okay without him, but him in the squad is great.
Oh, 100%. You're not going to say no to Tino.
Oh, hell no. Hell no. Could you imagine that Samoan squad with Tino in there? Yuck.
I don't even know whether I'd fit him in.
Just craziness, bro. That would be craziness. But yeah, shout out to that. We haven't got an England squad just yet, guys. I'm pretty sure England are pretty late to the party with it because they're still playing their season. I think they got their Challenge Cup grand final at the end of this week.
Yeah, then they're not far off playing grand final, so...
Yeah. So keep an eye out on all that. Did you see the news of JWH and him getting pulled out due to the... Have you seen the tackle in that?
No.
Disgusting. So he's pretty much retired. He's done with football now. He's suspended for the last game he's ever going to play. And it was due to a tackle where a player was kind of dropped to like on the ground, and he's kind of... It wasn't even hard contact with a swinging arm. He just came in, collected him in the head. He's gone for the year.
Oh, shit. So he doesn't even get to play the grand final.
Oh, hold up. T. McKee said JWH beat the charge. He's playing. That's such great news because last time I heard he wasn't playing. So I
was going to say, just let the man play.
I know. And just quickly, guys, before we jump off, I've got a couple of questions to run through for the chat here, bro. Do you reckon that AJ Brinson will make the Pommy squad? So just thinking about this too, they've got players like Jack Wellsby out back for fullback for the England squad. They've got a lot of great talent over there, but do you think they'll find a way for AJ Brinson?
He'll be in camp for sure.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of other names. Victor Radley would definitely be there.
For sure. Yeah.
Matty Nicholson.
Yep.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of great talent that's going over there. Who else pledged for their allegiance for England? Max King didn't. I'm trying to think of anyone else. I feel like there was one more major name, but I'm probably missing it right now.
I can't think.
Nah. I can't think either. Just quickly too, shout out to Mele Hufunga for winning me massive money over the weekend, but also pledging her allegiance for the Wahine coming next year. I am so excited to see Mele in the Warriors colours next year. Bella, your thoughts?
Oh, bro, signing prime Joey Leilua is outstanding.
Shout out to Mele. She's an absolute gun, bro. She's a freak. One big money.
She's definitely an attack weapon that you guys need, I think.
Yeah.
Just use her better than the Broncos. Give her early ball and you'll be laughing.
And Gal Broughton coming over there with her as well. So that nice little left side duo there for the Broncos. I'm really excited to see them pair up with Patricia Maliepu and, Taki Moana. We've got incredible talent out the back there. And, shout out to the squads there. And we didn't get to touch on too much of the NRLW squads, guys, but make sure you go check out the international squads that have just been put out recently. And big shout out to the women's game and the Broncos and NRLW just pulling off an amazing win there against the Roosters. And shout out to the Roosters for that comeback and almost pipping it from the Broncos as well. Incredible game.
100%. It was a good game, good build up for the main game for sure, and another great NRLW season.
And I'm just about to get up the UFC. Was it? What was the number of that last UFC, bro?
320.
320. That's right.
Top of my head.
You got it bang on the nose, bro. All right, before we go, guys, again, last show of the year. Thank you so much, guys, for all your support on the channel and for Down Unders. Me and Brody will definitely make things bigger and better next year as well. We're still trying to figure out if we'll probably have a new schedule for next year, guys. So keep an eye out for my community page on my channel. But thank you again. And we may as well finish it off as Jose wanted. UFC 320. So me and Brody were actually at a mate's place and watching this while watching the footy as well, guys. So we won't be crazy in depth with this, but a couple of notable performances I want to touch on you with. Shout out to Atemba Gutier.
Freak.
The man that they're just feeding sheep to, unfortunately. But he's an absolute gun, right?
Yeah, look, it is the Francis Ngannou of middleweight, brother. This dude, and he actually stopped the takedown, and then the dude didn't stand a chance. He has godlike power and a godlike physique for a guy at middleweight. So I don't know how he makes middleweight. So hopefully he can stay active and go on a bit of a run and become a household name, because that dude is incredible, and I'm excited to see him in the future.
And also one of the big fights of the night is Daniel Santos getting the KO victory over Joe San. Incredible performance. I thought these guys were both like going back and forth really well. I thought Yo actually started off really well. He started to showboat a little bit. And then Daniel Santos carrying a little bit of weight on him. He ended up folding him. So a great performance there.
If you showboat, make sure you don't leave your chin out in the air.
Just crazy. Shout out to Jacob Wickerlax getting the win over Patchy Mix. Patchy Mix just not having a great early start to his UFC career.
Yeah, dude needs to go back to Bellator. And I'm going to get to ARW's comment shortly as well.
Yeah, we will get there very, very quickly. Just brushing through a couple of other performances. Yuri Prohaska with a massive performance over Khalil Roundtree. Khalil Roundtree looked great in that first round as well, brother. Your thoughts on that performance?
How can you not love Yuri, brother? Like, if anybody sits there and goes, oh, I hate this guy, but gets knocked out, fuck, who do you watch? Like, what do you go for? Like, this dude, no matter what, even if he's coming up against your favorite fighter, you want him to do well. You know, he's such a lovable character, Yuri. He wouldn't say a bad word about anybody. The way he trains is outstanding. The dude's an absolute warrior. He doesn't give you a boring fight. He's going in there to knock somebody out or get knocked out. And you got to love the dude, and you just got to be happy for him when he gets a win.
Yeah, 100%. Quickly, Jose, thank you so much for the shout out for winning Supercoach finals in our little group. Appreciate you, my bro. And shout out to Chris O getting the wooden spoon while being called the wooden spoon. We love you, Chris.
Get it. Eels just don't get finals, brother.
They just don't get finals footy at the moment, do they?
He's been missing as well. Where is he?
But yeah, you're 100% right. Yuri is an absolute gun, bro, and he's always going to take the fight to any competition. Like, he's charging forward, doing hop skips and everything. Like, he is an absolute mental fighter. And shout out to Khalil. He definitely held his hands up in this fight. It was back and forth. He definitely hit him with some major shots, like that head kick he put on him, and Yuri just ate it like a champ. The body kick, a lot of those overhand rights just connecting, and Yuri just walked through it and just goes, later, Bolt, I'll take you out right now.
It's like the old Homer Simpson, brother. Like, he almost makes you work to a standstill trying to knock him out, because his chin is there and he's so hittable, but he just wears it and comes back.
Incredible, bro. Quickly, Merab Dvalishvili. Again, I didn't really take too much notice of this fight because it was kind of like Dvalishvili was just doing Dvalishvili things. I was watching my Warriors obviously getting a nice win there in New South Wales Cup, so shout out to the Warriors. But your thoughts on that performance, bro? Just baby Khabib doing baby Khabib things?
Probably even more extreme than Khabib, because he just does it for fun. He's in there laughing. He wants you to stand up just so he can take you down again. Like, he's just making a mocker of people. And he nearly actually got the TKO victory, which did surprise me, but we just went straight back to takedown after takedown. You know, I was sweating a little bet on him to get 8+ takedowns. The dude got 23 takedowns at the end of the fight.
Jordan.
What do you mean? So I don't know what's next for him. Maybe he has to go up a division and test his weight.
Yeah, and it said during commentary, they've like drug tested that man multiple different times. He's just like built different.
He's a machine, that's for sure.
They need to check under his skin, bro. It's you know, I don't think performance enhancing drugs do that. I think he's a robot.
Bro, you can't have that heart rate in the fights when you're actively taking somebody down constantly.
Yeah, he's just on a different level, bro. And talking about different level, the guy that's back on the pinnacle, back on the top of the UFC, the alpha dog, I'd say the apex predator, right up there. Obviously, you know, next to the heavyweight division, Alex Pereira beating Ankalaev. This one came a little bit of a shock for me. Shout out to Alex, just like walking him down, legit turning back into predator. Alex, I felt like that's what he lost in that last fight against Ankalaev. Unfortunately, with the wrestler, you're just gonna have to take it to a wrestler. If you're gonna get on the back foot, they're just gonna dominate you at the end of the day, and I feel like he took it to him and got the knockout in the first round. Craziness.
Yeah, shout out to Ash that was fucking around with the stream, and sure enough, stream comes good and Alex is on top of him. So we actually missed it all live, but exactly right, Hosier. Sharma, and we're loving it in the chat, man. It's so good to see. Brother, I'm sorry, I love Olberg, but he is not stopping Boatan.
Nah, this guy's on a different level, bro. Just that blank look, he just charges you forward. Like, you know, we saw what Izzy, you know, had to contend with there. And unfortunately, I think Izzy's a better technical fighter than Yolberg. And I don't think power to power. I think Alex's power will just overpower him.
I think so too, brother. And if it's just going to be a straight stand-up affair, he doesn't have to worry about a takedown coming his way. It's Politan all day.
Yeah, 100%. As Olberg hasn't fought Yuri Prochazka yet, right?
No, he just come off a victory against Dominic Reyes.
Yeah. I was about to say, I was trying to think if I missed someone there, but it would have been good to see him fight like Yuri maybe first of all before jumping up to Politan, get him like an elite talent. Like obviously Dominic Reyes is big, but I'd just love to see him get out over another person before he gets into that top realm. 100%. But you know, I don't want to push him too early. But then again, I don't think there's too many other names there for Alex Pereira to take heads off of. No,
I don't think there is. There really isn't at this stage.
So if put him in there, see how he goes.
Hey, unfortunately, I don't want to see Yuri back in there straight away. I want to let him have a couple more wins.
Yeah, sink or swim, baby, sink or swim. May as well go on there, and I'm sure the Yolberg will end up trying to do us proud there. But I think that will end us off. Yeah, brother. Anything more you want to touch on?
I think that is it. Supercoach was a good year. Thank you all. Hopefully you all guys join back in next year. We'll be posting that code up with our preseason predictions as soon as that comes available. So 100%. Other than that, we appreciate all your guys' time, love, support.
Yeah, and guys, this is definitely not the end of this. There's going to be a lot more coming in the off season coming up next year as well. And as I said, me and Brody, we may pop up on the odd stream here, left, right, and center. It's just going to be less scheduled now of coming to our off season. We're going to recharge the batteries, as I think many other content creators are probably doing right now as well. It's been a long year of rugby league. You know, it's been a great year of rugby league. I think my channel's hit whole new heights, and I thank Brody obviously for coming onto the channel, helping me out with that as well. We've hit monetization, which is a major plus for me, and I absolutely love it. You know, and all you guys are the biggest factors to that, and we love you guys so much. You make this stream so easy and so happy, so good. And yeah, Jose, yeah, you will see me on Wise Up TV next year as well, helping out Levon as he's got some amazing stuff going on in his personal life as well. But anything more from you, bro?
That is all for me, boys.
All right, guys, enjoy your weekend. I'm pretty sure it's Prime Minister's 13 this weekend, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Get excited for that. You get to see Keon Kolomatangi and all that run out there against the PNG Kummels. And then we right into...
Isn't Keon in the proper Ashes?
He's in the Prime Minister's 13 as well.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, they're doubling up on that.
Oh, okay. Well, hopefully he doesn't get injured.
Fingers crossed. That'll be interesting. I think they're just trying to get some runs in the legs of the not old bloke, but yeah, before he's going, before the Ashes.
Keep him fit.
Yeah, 100%. So make sure you check that out, guys. And then we're into Pacific Championship. So keep an eye on the channel. Me and Brody might come out with some random videos and all that for you. But we thank you so much. We love you all. And up the wires as always, yeah?
Up the doggies.
Team McKee, at least he's kept his shirt on for this live stream. May as well take it off before the live stream, bro.
No, definitely not.
All right, guys. Love you all. Take it easy. Have a great weekend. And also have a great off season, guys. We'll see you very, very shortly.
Laters.